Так, так. Отлично.
Рестораны всегда были
Фу,
местом,
я
где
думал,
растворяешься.
я думал, я обосрался, думал, что я... Все нормально. Так, вот, я не знаю, давайте просто пока откроем, может кто-то посмотрит. Здорово, мы сегодня опять всякую обычную хрень смотрим, и после этого наконец-то поиграем. Вот, да. Я не планирую сегодня смотреть хрень. Вот. Сейчас я объясню, что мы будем смотреть с вами. А может кто-то смотрел, но я лично не смотрел это, потому что это любимый вопрос. Ладно. Давай, давай, давай. В последнее время стоит смотреть подобных новостей. Да, немножко подпишет, ну ладно. Вот смотрите, сейчас мы будем с вами смотреть вот это Супер Game Fest, как он называется. В общем, что это такое? Ну, это что-то типа замена как E3, как я понял. Вот, которую отменили в этом году, но будут уходить с конференции в цифровом виде. То есть вот написано, что тут написано, что еще первый матч Джейми Кейфилл анонсировал вот этот цифровой фестиваль игр, кто продлится все лето. Вот написано, что ТТТТ. Трансляция мероприятия фестиваля будет походить на крупнейших сайтах. ТТТТ помимо шоу анонсировать игры, то есть все такое. Там уже как бы типа анонсировали вот как движок Unreal Engine 5, там по-моему Тони Хоук анонсировали, я хочу посмотреть. Тоже вот всякая хрень, видите? Вот, у них вот летний фестиваль, можно зарегистрироваться, смотреть расписание можно. Вот, смотрите, вот, смотрите, самое главное, что нам надо. 4 июня будет PlayStation игры показывать. 9 июня будет Steam какой-то, 11 Киберпанк будет. Вот это мы, кстати, тоже посмотрим. 11 это как раз после рабочего дня, надеюсь, будет. Вот. И плей, тут викторина разработчиков. Короче, это надо будет посмотреть. Все нам с вами. И вот тут как бы выпуски. 30 мая. Вот у них. Valorant, кстати, должен выйти в релиз, поэтому сейчас посмотрим. Понятное дело, что все это. Так, выключаем музыку и идем смотреть. Летний игрофест. Надо хэштег поставить и вот. Даже есть, кстати, трейлер, я вам сейчас его покажу. Вот такой типа трейлер есть. Посмотрите на него. Это место E3 будет. Все это будет смотреть. Просто сейчас и лет начинается, стримов будет намного меньше. Поэтому по большей части все вот такие будут хрени. Вот. Сейчас мы вот это посмотрим, а потом я уже пройду стрим, где поиграю в разные игры. Потому что надо немножко место освободить. Вот, Супер Game Fest. С мая по август. Такой трейлер. Ну, смотрите, вот. Первое, что показали, это получается у нас Unreal Engine 5 для PlayStation 5. Хочу это посмотреть. Вот, а тем более, как раз кушать, как бы. Это там кушать, пьет, там приятно пить. От Epic Games. Здорово. Ух, нихуя уже сколько лайков. Надеюсь, что они не наручные будут, а то это стрим это заблокируют. Его не смогут. А, у вас это, да? Точно, вам надо это. Так делать. Ад. Движок Unreal 5. Звук какой-то тиховатый, да? Пока я один сижу, никого нет. Может, позвонить, не знаю. Давайте, наверное, чуть-чуть прибавим. Так лучше, да. Вот так лучше. Как у вас, кстати, дела? Чё нового? Здесь рассказывают про новый движок Unreal 5, который в следующем году выходит. Ну, для PlayStation 5, все такое, там, для Xbox, для ПК и так.
My photogrammetry scan, my CAD data, without wasting any time optimizing, creating LODs, or even lowering the quality to make it hit frame rate.
In the end, that's what it's all about. Art that just works. And we call this new technology nanite. Here is the future of Unreal Engine running live on a PlayStation 5.
Awesome. Let's take a look at it.
This has to be the right way.
Before we continue, let's stop a moment and take a look at some of the key features of this demo. Much of what you see was built with Quixel Megascan assets, but instead of using the game versions, we used the cinematic versions, which would typically only be used in film. There are around 1 million triangles each, and thanks to virtual texturing, they all use 8K textures as well. Nanite can render an insane number of triangles very quickly. There are over 1 billion triangles of source geometry in each frame that Nanite crunches down losslessly to around 20 million drawn triangles. What does that many triangles look like? This isn't noise. These are the triangles, each a different color. Most are so small that they look like noise. Nanite achieves detail down to the pixel, which means triangles are often the size of pixels. This amount of geometric detail requires shadows to be pixel accurate as well, and Nanite can do that too. Speaking of lighting, all of the lighting in this demo is completely dynamic, with the power of Lumen that even includes multi-bounce global illumination. No light maps, no baking here.
Бомба через 2 дня получаете стат. О, это охуенно. Это просто охуенно.
We can move the light and the bounce changes instantly. Okay, let's keep going. We've made some great additions to our audio system as well. Convolution reverb allows us to measure reverberation characteristics of real spaces, like actual caves that we sampled, and reproduce them in virtual spaces. Sound field rendering allows us to record and play back spatialized audio.
Башка побаливает. Не знаю, почему-то кажется, когда ты что едешь, башка побаливает.
All of this
Это
adds
это.
up to a more immersive
Мешок
experience.
показывает. Дух поменять. Он Начал 5 для PlayStation 5 геймплей. То есть какая-то игра. И на ней показывают. И, кстати, что? В следующий раз, когда будем что-то подобное смотреть, это будет у Sony в 23:00 по МСК в четверг.
Also added a ton of new functionality to run fluid simulations like you see in the water below.
Horizon Zero Dawn я играл. Ну, такая неплохая игра. Она пока должна быть вроде как летом, что ли, планировалось.
The demo runs on our chaos physics system. Here we are using it to accurately simulate the rigid bodies of the falling rocks and the cloth of her scarf. Now that the environment is so
На улице
complex,
полно жарища.
we needed to greatly improve
Я
our
телефон
animation
себе
systems
поставлю.
to adapt. We've added predictive foot placement and motion warping, which dynamically modifies IK and body position to look more natural. For the character to more
Да, она
realistically interact with
неплохая,
the
однако я
environment,
дошел
we've
только
added
до
the
момента,
ability to
когда
trigger
была
seamless
сцена, где один
contextual
мужик
animation events,
делал все
like
записи.
her
Больше
hand on the
классная
ghost
игруха
box.
лучше. Я на PS4. Прикольно играть, если мне что не понравилось, это дополнение. Чтобы играть дополнение, надо проходить всю сюжетку. А так я пошел, но А у меня не было сейвов, не пришлось пока заново.
Any light source can move while still having beautiful bounce lighting. Dynamic illumination means specular as well, which you can see on all the metal surfaces. You can even see the Niagara-powered bugs reacting to the light. Lumen not only reacts to moving light sources, but also changes in geometry.
Вот это может быть это. Ничего себе, я не гав DFC. Оно не скучно. Такое обычно дополнение, ничего интересного нет. Считай, как будто, знаешь, как обычно говорят, вылезали 20% из игры и всунули покупать. А что хватит делать давно, это было. Шаг вперед. Уж я тебя забыл. На старте PlayStation 4 выпустили Killzone. Блин, ну сумка. Но он такой себе был, на один раз, не больше. Horizon это прям шаг был их. Я имею в виду не шаг назад, а шаг вперед. Я на старте был тоже 4К 100. Там такие, что поделаешь. Потом еще будет дороже стоить. И все равно мы будем покупать. Я же слышал подобное для Street of Rage, но пока что, я так понял, она не скоро выйдет, потому что они как бы будут год обновлять, она стала коммерчески успешной, на оценки лучше получил. Но я знаю, так делать игры. Правда, я угадал год назад, так и не погоди, ну что поделаешь, твое дело. Ну, вот я жду четверг, 4 июня. Потому что будет конференция у Sony, то их конференция, для короче, это премьера будет роликов своих для игр PlayStation 5, а в субботу будет это писька гейминг шоу, там это мафию ремейк показывают. Может я куплю, не знаю, я думаю, просто там в августе я хотел Series M взять 4, он там стоит в 3 раза дешевле, чем мафия ремейк. Unreal Angel. 5. Специально для консолей нового поколения. Unreal Angel 5. Вот так вот. Вот выйдет в 2025 году движочек. Когда выйдет как раз. Нихуя у тебя мульт на канале.
That was the first real-time footage of something running on the PlayStation 5 as well.
Это, конечно, круто, но
amazing day, I think, for gamers to get a glimpse at where games are going next. And now it's my honor to be joined by 3 guys from Epic to talk a little bit about today's announcement. Of course, we've got
анонс движка Unreal Engine 5 для PlayStation 5. Это уход в следующем году.
Thanks for joining me here virtually. This is a really big and exciting day. I mean, I think I just was so blown away when I saw this footage about what.
Нет, я не знаю насчет PlayStation 5. Понимаю, что такая хрень, пока не выйдет игра какая-то, с которой мне и маме будет интересно, то навряд ли мы возьмем. Вот когда вышел PlayStation 4, мы взяли ее ради этой Infamous до конца. На мобе понравилась игра, ну, по не геймплею, мы такие, давай возьмем. Накопили денег, и в 2014 году уже после чуть не года, и как консоль вышла, там практически 11 месяцев мы взяли. Но выиграл нет, ну выиграть, ну я имею в виду, выиграть-то понятно будут движки, но их не будут, их анонсируют там потом. У нас как все как бы лет начинается, там конфы идут. в четверг буду у Sony. Пока они тут болтают, ничего интересного даже сейчас покажу. Просто так, чтобы вы знали, когда ко мне зайти на стрим, вот, чтобы узнать что-то новое про... У них, короче, есть на официальном сайте. Сейчас. Потому что они болтают пока там. Что-то. Особо ничего интересного, надеюсь, не будет. Вот. Ну вот, встречаемся с вами 4 июня в 23:00 по МСК. PlayStation 5 покажет свои игры, Sony, короче, покажет свои игры. Потом будет какой-то Steam, но я не знаю, что такое. Вот это хрень я впервые слышу. Киберпанк покажут, или геймплей, может, или там разработчики комментариев 11 числа. 11 будут у EA. Ну там, может, батл нового анонсируют, может, Звездные войны какие-то, не знаю. И 22 будет какой-то еще одна конфа, не знаю, что такое. 23 будет там этот стрим по аниме-играм, очень долго идти, а потом Мстители там же будут, да? Вот. Такие вот дела. Так, сейчас переключаемся. Я знаю, что мне надо переключиться, потому что... Так. Вот что это за игра такая? Not only to bring unprecedented quality and lighting to the environments, but also to free artists from having to worry about the details. Да я расписание, слушай, создал. У меня в прошлом году, с 2014 года, я как вот начал вот этот подобный хрен стримить, показывать, я стою, я когда что? Unbelievably realistic, but also economical and practical for them to create without having to have
А такое возможно будет. У нас все возможно. Сейчас, секундочку. Пока они там пиздят. У них здесь несколько выпусков есть, кто поебал. И всех надо посмотреть. Visually, what's happening that makes it look so incredible? Because I know you've got a couple of new systems that you're really proud of.
Я где-то с понедельника надо будет создать вот это расписание и стримить. Я, кстати, в прошлом году вот стримил E3, и правда я делал на YouTube стрим, до этого на Twitch стримил, позже забавит, вот у меня расписание в прошлом году создал. Вот такое же расписание создам. Но тут есть один прикол, что, скорее всего, это расписание будет неполное, потому что многие неизвестно, сколько времени будет. И вот все, стримил это дело. Это было очень тяжело, потому что все это ночью, блядь, идет. Нет, я не...
Ingesting all the movie quality assets from Quixel to make that scene, and the artist doesn't even have to think about it. They can move rocks and mountains and statues wherever they want in the scene and not have to worry about triangle costs anymore. Lumen, the global illumination system that Tim mentioned, that just produces incredibly realistic and accurate bounce lighting. So wherever you place a light in the scene, its effect on the whole world is seen instantly by just moving things around. It's amazing.
Yeah, when I saw that demo, I was just so blown away by the visual fidelity, and also I think how much felt, at least to me as an end user, how much felt that so much of the environment was streaming in real time in so much detail, especially that sequence where she's flying through the environment. Mark Cerny has talked a lot about PlayStation 5 and the incredible bandwidth it's going to have to move data from the SSD right onto screen. Nick, can you maybe talk a bit about how that's sort of manifesting itself in this demo? I assume some of the are enabling types of things that just weren't possible in previous generations.
Yeah, so Nanite enabled the artist to build a scene with geometric complexity that would have been impossible before. There are tens of billions of triangles in that scene, and we simply couldn't have them all in memory at once. And so what we end up needing to do is streaming in triangles as the camera is moving throughout the environment. And the I/O capabilities of PlayStation 5 are one of the key hardware features that enable us to achieve that level of realism.
Yeah, no, it's stunning to see that, and I think also the global illumination. I think people have heard that concept before, but now really manifesting sort of in real time in that environment with the flashlight or some of the other lighting scenes. Can you guys maybe break down sort of from the gamer perspective, like how games are going to change because of the full global illumination?
Я только запустил стрим, буквально 15 постримил, тут хуяк. Что это такое?
First of all, this enables a much wider variety of games to have very realistic responses to light. Everything from large-scale open-world types of games, with day-night cycles, being seamless transitions from indoor to outdoor. It's it makes lighting one of the things that the developers don't have to worry about. And it's a freeing technology. Not only does it mean more real-time lighting in games, but it also means there's a large set of problems that were very tricky in the previous generation that developers just don't need to worry about. And so I think you're going to see a much wider variety of types of games, taking advantage of Lumen and taking advantage of Nanite. And one of the
Хочется,
core
кстати,
elements of
заебаться.
every new generation transition is
Уже аппетит,
new
блин,
hardware
пропал.
capabilities with an order of magnitude improvement over previous generations enable entirely new types of games to develop. The Battle Royale genre didn't even take off
Бати, блин,
until
ебаный,
the current generation,
колонки, пьян,
where you finally had enough
ебучий.
computing and graphics
Ненавижу
power
его.
to enable a 100-player game, with very, very high fidelity encounters. This new generation of technology that we're building with Unreal Engine 5 and that Sony's empowering with PlayStation 5 will enable entirely new types of game experiences that we can't even anticipate yet.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk over the past couple of weeks about the next generation and kind of will the leap be as great as previous generations? What are the types of things we're going to see? I think this demo, at least to me, is the first kind of real-time example of something that really grabs me. And I just want to confirm, like, what we're seeing there, that's all, like, you can actually play that with a controller? Like, that's not kind of frame dumped or anything? That's actually playable?
It's a fully playable demo, and
Wow.
we plugged in a recorder into the back of a PlayStation 5 dev kit and recorded the signal that came out over HDMI. So it's a totally live demo, and it's replayable, and it's a little bit different every time you play it.
Wow. No, because I mean that flight sequence, everything. That's what's so exciting to me is like this is real time footage. So what do you guys think? I mean, when people say like what is the leap of this generation going to be to sort of previous generations from like PlayStation 3 to 4 and whatnot? Is it any different this time? Is it going to be greater, less, or we don't know yet?
I think the sense of immersion, one of the great things about playing games is you can transport it to places that you could never go in the normal world. This level of lighting and detail really gets you to a point where you're feeling like you're inside a movie set. Things are so realistic, and it's gonna aid the storytelling. I think that the sense of immersion, the feeling a player gets from actually visiting a space will be much deeper than you've ever seen before.
And the ability of the hardware and the engine to stream in massive amounts of content as you're going through a huge environment, I think that's going to have a much bigger impact on gaming than people are expecting right now. Until this next generation of hardware, previous generation console games had to be built to load data off of a spinning mechanical device, right? That has its roots in the 1950s, and now. Sony's storage system is absolutely world class. Not only the best in class in console, but also the best on any platform. Better than high-end PC. I think this is going to enable the types of immersion that we only could have dreamed of in the past. The world of loading screens is over, and the days of pop-in and geometry popping up as you're going through these game environments are ended, and the resulting effect is the ability to build games that are fully immersive from start to finish over hundreds of hours of gameplay if that's your game.
Yeah, no, incredible what I think this is going to enable. We've talked a lot about PS5. We know obviously Unreal Engine runs kind of across all platforms, including mobile and PC and Xbox, of course. What's your take on like what you're showing here? How is that going to scale to to other systems? Like this demo we're seeing, is that will that run on the Xbox Series X? Will it run on PC? How will it be different? Can you guys give us some context on that?
Well, I mean, Unreal Engine 5 is going to run across all of our supported platforms, next generation console, current generation consoles, as well as mobile devices. One of the key features that we've been working on is being able to build content once and deploy it across devices. So on higher end hardware where we can support Nanite directly, we'll be able to render scenes at the fidelity that you just saw, like on PlayStation 5. For say an Android or iOS mobile device, what we will be able to do is have tools that help to scale that content down so that you'll be able to take the game that you built at the highest fidelity level for console and bring it to all other devices.
Tim, do you have a sense between like sort of all the, like Xbox, PlayStation, all these other systems, like sort of, they've made somewhat different choices, also some similar ones, obviously with SSDs in both. Do you have a sense of how they're going to sort of compare in terms of power, or, how you look at sort of like the overall landscape?
Well, we love all of our babies, and we can't make comparisons or pick favorites. But the nanite technology we showed here is going to run across all next generation consoles and high-end PC. And most importantly, this is what's possible in the absolute best hardware that's going to exist, at the end of the year. But these experiences you build, we will help developers scale down to every device that exists in the world. And we really hope to empower all developers to do what we've done with Fortnite in this generation, which is build an absolutely no sacrifices high-end console game, and then bring it to every device, including scaling it down to iOS and Android devices from years ago, so that we can reach a much larger audience of gamers than just the hardcore, some 200 million console players in the world.
So Kim, I know a lot of gamers around the world watched that footage and said, wow, I want to play that, but I'm sure they're also trying to kind of extrapolate out of that, since it's, this is not a game, it's a demo, how their games are going to feel different in the next generation. And one of the things that I really took away from it was that flight sequence at the end, which was just incredible. And with, the sort of the rubble coming down and things moving. Could you maybe talk about sort of how the game experience might change with UE5? Sure, it's going to look, visually more beautiful, but how is it going to play different?
So traditionally on this current generation, if you wanted to make a photorealistic environment, the way that people do that is they bake lighting into the environment. The problem with that means the environment is not dynamic. You can't move things around. You can't incorporate user-generated content because you don't know what it is prior to shipping your game. But with this technology, with the Lumen technology and nanite, it means that worlds can be super rich and super dynamic. So not just destructible components, but mutating components and things that change beyond the release of the game. Every day, an environment could have grown and changed, and that can all be calculated live.
And does that extend to like, I assume like destructible environments and whatnot, and allowing people to sort of, really like that sequence in the flight where you sort of, saw the sort of tower crash down or whatever. That felt to me, I just hadn't seen that level of detail in a game like that. And some games like Uncharted or whatever sometimes have big destruction moments, but it felt like that was so detailed and so realistic. Is that partially because you can now move the environment more in real time?
Yes, and even effects like when we open that big dome where all the statues are, the light just floods in and bounces all over the place. You really, the way you would have had to do that in the past is you would have to cheat. And now it can be fully dynamic. You can blow a hole in the sky and the light will come through, and even choose randomly colored lights. If you put them into the scene as a player, then they're going to have an effect on the whole world and it'll still look realistic.
So in the past, you could get that effect, but it would have to be sort of pre-calculated, I guess? Is that how it worked?
Yeah, exactly. And even if you want to, like if you're saying you're in a dungeon and you place a light, you see you've got a candle that you happen to have in the game and you place it, that will bounce around corners. So you can explore with limited light sources, and the old-fashioned gag of having a flashlight beam isn't what you need anymore. You can actually use light in really interesting ways.
Yeah, and even beyond games, Unreal Engine has been applied to so many amazing aspects of entertainment. Of course, I think everyone knows The Mandalorian, how that used Unreal Engine, and there's the Weather Channel. There's so many other uses of UE. Can you guys talk about how sort of UE5 is going to kind of tie into those experiences? And I think I assume you see this convergence of kind of everything coming together through an engine like Unreal in terms of just realizing entertainment. How will UE5 sort of, be used in those fields, or how will that change the pipeline for non-game experiences too?
So one of the great things about nanite is that it finally allows content creators of all kinds to be able to use movie quality assets. So there really won't be a difference. If you're building an environment for a film versus a video game, or you're making an IP that's transmedia, you can build things the same way now. And that was we'd had so much exposure to film customers over the last few years using our engine that we really wanted to remove the barrier for them and for all game makers. Right now, you pick a high resolution asset you want, you load it in, you don't have to think about making levels of detail or normal maps or any of the usual stuff that goes with making game content. It's a pretty freeing experience for anybody trying to tell a story or to make an experience.
That's amazing. So, in the eyes of a consumer, like you'll see an asset that's in, a movie, and that they literally can drag that over to the game now. Whereas I guess in the past they would have to sort of, reduce down the polygons and kind of scale it down for a game engine.
Yeah, and in fact, actually, Quixel, that's also part of Epic. Their assets, they come when you take an asset from the Quixel store. There is a movie quality version that would be used in movies. I guess they were involved a lot in the Jungle Book movie a few years ago, and many movies today use Quixel assets. And they also have versions of them assets that are suitable for games. Now, you don't have to have that distinction. Nanite will just take the movie asset and do the right things with it.
One of the things I know when you guys moved to UE4, a lot of people, were worried about, it's breaking some of the pipeline of things that people had done previously. And it sounds like with this engine, you're saying it's going to be kind of a pretty seamless transition to UE5, right? That's important for you, sort of have the forwards compatibility?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to support developers bringing their games from UE4 to UE5, and in fact, we will be doing that ourselves.
Я что-то, блядь, сплю на ходу. Читал всякую хуйню. Где игра? Ты представляешь? Если ты здесь. Это здесь напиши плюсик. Ну, поставь, чтобы я знал, что это здесь. Мы смотрим разную хрень, а потом поиграем. Представляешь? Блин, а я не знал, что ты придешь. А то у тебя последний раз было, ты на Милу стоишь, потом куда-то ушла без ни слуха и духа.
Fortnite obviously is such a phenomenon, as you mentioned earlier, Tim, with battle royales, but also I feel like Fortnite has turned into really kind of this metaverse-like platform where we're seeing kind of different experiences powered by Unreal. And I was wondering if you guys could talk a bit about that, because I look at the Travis Scott concert and I see that as an amazing experience, but it sort of was an interactive
все демоны, эх вы, черти вы собачьи.
for his new song, it's actually just what was in Unreal.
Вы не дождались демона.
All those sort of worlds of entertainment combining, Tim,
Так
longer term. And
нечестно.
obviously, based on what Kim was saying, it's now going to be
не общаюсь
easier, I
больше.
guess, for the assets to move. But from an experience standpoint, do you see kind of a blending of games with more traditional entertainment powered by Unreal?
Yeah, absolutely. All of these worlds are colliding right now in real time. We're seeing the sort of film production that's being done on The Mandalorian and other projects all around Hollywood, film and television. Being able to move directly to games in the future. Right now we've brought Marvel content into Fortnite and Star
Надо,
Wars
кстати,
content
сегодня
into Fortnite. And each of those processes started with rebuilding their movie quality assets for real time, using our tools. But in the
Донат
future,
сегодня после реально.
this is going
Во
to
время
be
стрима
an
составить
exercise
это
to build every
расписание,
asset
то
exactly
лето
once and then deploy it
начинается.
everywhere. And the future isn't just going to be about Unreal Engine serving a bunch of separate markets.
Люди, кто
We're
здесь?
helping
Вот если
architects
кто-то
visualize
здесь,
their
плюс
creations
поставьте.
now, and that's
Все
awesome.
будет у
We're
вас
helping film and
хорошо в
television
жизни,
makers,
в отличие от
virtually produce their
меня.
work in real time, with actors in front of and actresses in front of cameras, and
Здесь будет потом Тони
using
Хоук
LED
пойдет, а
screens
потом что-то
instead
еще
of
пойдет,
green
а
screens,
потом
and
конец
it's
стрима.
making the production process much more efficient, real time, and higher quality. But in the future, all these assets are going to come together, and Epic's not going to just play a role in supplying creation software to all of these different industries. We're going to help everybody reach consumers with real-time 3D content. When General Motors released their Corvette car configurator for the 2020 Corvette, it was powered by Unreal. It was running in the cloud, and you could go there and you could configure your car right then. But that was disconnected from the rest
стрим
of the
пошел,
game
да,
world.
стрим
The
пошел,
next step with all of
потому
those
что
types
я
of
его
experiences
установил.
is to
Если у
enable
вас
them to author that
черный экран
content
ничего не
for
грузит,
all of
это
their
значит
internal
Димка
work,
просто
whether you're
остановил
building,
стрим,
designing a
не
home
закончил. Вы
for a
знаете об этом.
customer as an architect, or you're designing a car, or you're building a television series.
Когда уже 8 лайков за
The next generation of these experiences to be bringing all of those assets directly to gamers in a fun way, deploying them into Fortnite and every other Unreal Engine licensee's games, being able to reach a vast consumer audience that way, right? It's like the transition that the the world went through in the early days of the internet, and then social media. For a while it was just companies talking to customers one-on-one, and now
Ты хоть
you have the
субтитры
думаешь, to reach
не смотрел?
customers directly through your
Думаешь, эти
Facebook
субтитры
page,
чем-то
your
помогут
Twitter
мне?
page, your Twitter account, anything like that. But the next generation of these
Видишь?
experiences is not just text and video. It's real-time 3D. It's a social
Эти
experience
твои
for players
субтитры не
together,
помогут,
where
потому что...
players are
Вот, ничего
together
не понятно.
with all of their friends and
Ну,
experiencing all of
и
these
смысл
companies'
твоих
content together in real time.
субтитров,
And it's a world that's not going to
блядь.
be powered by advertisements
Видишь?
that pop up and annoy you. It's a world that's going to be
Ну и
powered
непонятно,
by
тогда не
awesome
смотри.
content that these companies make available to power your entertainment experiences. And we're blazing this path to some extent with Fortnite, but there will be a lot of other games heading in this direction, a lot of them powered by Unreal Engine. And I think this is the next step in the entire digital content industry, not just gaming, but the whole thing.
I couldn't agree more. It's so exciting to feel that games are going to be at the center of this. But as you said, I think, this, like, those shared experiences that you're having in Fortnite, even, a concert experience, there's no
Ну,
gunplay
я
or
понимаю,
content
но
involved. It's just a
что
shared kind
поделаешь.
of
Это
experience,
все
which is so compelling.
американцам
And
на нас
as you
как
said,
бы
powered
похуй,
by
и мы
Unreal, and then when you think
мы
of,
на
as you
них.
said, those movie assets and
Вот так мы и
all the
живем.
other assets coming together in a world, it's really exciting. One thing I wanted to ask you about was the content creation path, because we've seen a lot, especially in Fortnite, with creative mode and a lot of fans of Fortnite starting to build
Да нет,
levels.
так мы и
Obviously,
живем.
UE, you guys, I think, have really focused on kind of making it accessible, lowering the royalty rates for kind of upstart developers. Can you maybe talk a bit about sort of the your vision of kind of how easy it is to build something in Unreal? I mean, are we going to get to a level where it is sort of like a Photoshop where you can kind of just jump in and build a game, or what is that barrier to entry going to go down in the next generation?
Epic is working to address the whole range of content development scenarios, all the way from your AAA game developer or your feature film in Hollywood being produced using world-class photoreal assets, all the way down to indie game experiences and content creation for the 100 million people who want to build stuff but aren't professional modelers and haven't had training in that. And the continuum of experiences spans Fortnite Creative, which has been used by over 100 million people, all the way up to Unreal Engine 4 and the Unreal Editor, which is an insanely powerful piece of software that's actually pretty complicated to learn. But over time, these tools and technologies will be coming together in some exciting ways, and we're not ready to talk about all of it yet. But Epic is really thinking about putting a lot of effort into addressing the entire continuum of content development and content deployment scenarios. We feel that the state of the world is a little bit broken right now. If you look at the app stores on smartphones, you have 250,000 games, each competing for the top 10 charts, where virtually all of the sales occur. And you have a small number of winners and a whole lot of losers in that way, and it's not a fair situation for game developers. And you have a lot of amazing games that just get lost because they haven't been discovered. More and more we want to enable content creators to reach the audiences within existing games. And this has been part of the industry since the days of Quake and Unreal Tournament, when user mods became possible, and we and id Software released our first tools so the community could start building their own stuff. And now it's reached a scale of hundreds of millions of users. If you look at what Fortnite is doing, and Minecraft and Roblox enabling user content creation, but I think right now you have two separate worlds, right? You have the professional tools of Unreal Engine and Unity, and then you have the tools for the masses in Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, and they're really not connected anymore. They're not connected at all. And the next step is to cross over and to enable all of the content tools to reach all of the customers and all of the ways that they play games. And this is something that we're thinking a lot about, and we'll be doing a lot of work on in the coming years.
It's awesome to hear. We've talked a lot, obviously, about like graphics and lighting and things that are very powerful and visual that grab you. But I want to talk about the underlying architecture a little bit, and things especially like online services. And I know that's something that Epic has focused on, about kind of connecting people, even crossplay, but also finding ways to kind of bring communities together. And I guess some of that's tied to UE5, but also it's just a general platform approach. But can you maybe share a bit on kind of your vision on the other aspects of Unreal and Epic and how
Опять я
that's
там
going to
что-то
sort of
демонтажировать.
evolve over the next few years too?
Oh, sure. Today
посмотреть очень
we're
трогает.
showing Unreal Engine 5 for the first time, but we're launching the Epic Online services to all developers in the world across 5 platforms right now, and you can download the Epic Online Services SDK and use it right away. What this is the set of all of the online features that we built for Fortnite, including cross-platform friends that span 7 platforms, enable players to connect together with all of their friends everywhere. Despite the different account systems and friend systems that exist on each platform, on the console platforms and on Steam. And we're opening it up to all developers for free. And the goal here is to help all developers work together to accomplish what we accomplished with Fortnite, and to build a cross-platform social ecosystem together with all of the other developers in the industry, right? Instead of players being siloed into the one platform they're playing on, we want them to be able to reach all of their friends everywhere, but also build up friends across multiple games. And that's the really interesting thing about the Epic account services that we're launching. If you choose to use Epic accounts in your game, then you can reach the entire Fortnite player base, which is over 350 million accounts worldwide. And more importantly, it's 2.2 billion social connections between players. When 2 players become online friends and start playing together, those friend connections now persist across games, from all of the different publishers who choose to use these services. And so, it's the most open set of services that have been launched to date, and it really helps to bridge the gap, that's existed on all of the other platforms. And until recently, it was really only Epic, EA, Activision, the really big companies with a huge set of development resources that had the capability of building that sort of thing. But now this is open, and it's approved by all 3 of the console makers for use on their platforms, and it's ready for all game developers to adopt. And so we're really trying to help the industry get to a better place. And we think the core of the game industry are these 300 million hardcore gamers across high-end PC and console, but there are billions of gamers worldwide, and I think the next stage of the industry's growth is going to come from connecting these audiences, not with low-end casual games on one set of platforms and high-end games on another set of platforms, but getting all of the players to play together and enabling all developers to release their games on all platforms, as we did with Fortnite.
Yeah, I think that's such an interesting idea that, these gaming platforms almost become, it's another social network now, right? And I know you guys have House Party that's been very successful over the past few months especially, but it feels like now, you talk those numbers with Epic Online Services, it starts to feel like this is, a Twitter or a Snapchat or an Instagram and sort of this way to kind of connect people. Is that part of your longer term vision, is that people will use sort of these game services as kind of a gateway to connect with people, and games are a part of it, but also just the larger sort of social graph will be kind of the gateway to it will be through a game engine?
Well, what we're building here is the opposite of a walled garden, right? We're enabling all publishers to use all of their different account systems and connect using these services. And we're working with all of the different console makers and other platforms and services to help interconnect them. The most interesting thing about this, and if you start playing Fortnite on PlayStation and then you want to play the game on the iOS device, on iOS you can log in with your PlayStation account, and then you get all of your PlayStation progress transferred over. If you start playing on PC, then you create an Epic account. Then if you go to Xbox, then you can log in with your Epic account on your Xbox. And so this isn't a walled garden. Rather, it's an attempt to connect all of the different services, some of which have different degrees of openness. And I think that's really going to be freeing for the industry. It's going to mean that everybody can talk to everybody else, and there's no one company controlling the whole
Так,
thing.
ну сколько это было,
Rather,
наверное, закончить?
it arises as a result of the
Будет следующий блок, там не
all
одна
these different
локалка.
companies in the ecosystem who finally
И
realize
еще,
that
по-моему, одна. И
they can grow better and build better businesses
И на этом
instead of
дальше
trying to
идем.
let players into their platforms,
Сначала перед тем, как
enable
пойдем к
players to
системе
connect with
расписания,
all of their
в
friends
прямом эфире
across all
на
platforms.
отмененной E3,
Because
что там будет. И
we have a lot of devices in our lives, and everybody who has an Xbox or a PlayStation also has an iPhone or an Android device. And to really enable the next generation of industry growth, we've got to be able to connect all of these users with all of these friends and set aside kind of the old feuds that defined previous generations of the console business.
So with everything you're describing, I think of, a show like The Mandalorian, which, we all watched and loved, but all those assets are there. I mean, nothing prevents them now from building kind of an interactive experience, I guess, around that they could power with something like Unreal. And, maybe it's a game, but maybe it's just sort of this shared experience. And it
Прикольно, у него тут
feels like,
шарик вот тут
the
еще.
visual fidelity now
Сколько хотел.
that these next-gen consoles will bring. I mean, based on what you were saying, Kim and Nick, it's like, are things going to look just like movie visual effects? Like, what are the things that I guess real-time games can't do still that we get to see in some of these other shows?
I think we're getting much closer on this generation to get to the point where you're not going to be able to tell the difference.
Ну, мне не кажется, что они так прям долго живут. Вот, казалось бы, люди там работают над движком, деньги зарабатывают. Но что-то вот я не вижу пока, что они прям долго живут.
They're still probably one generation off before they're perfect, but we're getting closer and closer. And one of the coolest things that we've seen with the advent of shows like The Mandalorian starting to use the engine is they're beginning to understand that a game engine isn't just about rendering pretty real-time pixels. They're understanding that game engines, especially Unreal, is built for building these very immersive simulated worlds. So we're seeing people say they've got a car chase in their TV show that they're trying to make, then they'll actually drive cars with steering wheels and joypads to race against each other and then film that after the fact. So it's starting to become very almost like very Matrix way in the way that they're using simulation for cinematic content creation. And I think that's just going to get more and more common. And as they start to rock the potential of what real-time interactive entertainment is about, I think you're going to see traditional storytellers making the move into video games, and I think and backwards and forwards. I think you're going to see this very, very fuzzy world where it's just entertainment. You're building an IP. It can be a game. It can be a TV show. It can be all of these things, and it's going to be.
Да, будем очень трудно мы состоять.
And I'm sure some people saw that, the showcase that you guys just showed, the demo, and everyone's like, "I want to play that game." But we should clarify that's not a game. I don't think, right? It's just a tech demo.
It's a tech demo. Yes,
Okay.
yes. No, we feel it's the best way to present, especially something that was built for the Game Developer Conference, is to show something within the context of gameplay. So, and it also means, we wanted to improve some animation systems in the engine. So it was much better to actually have a world that you can walk through, play, jump, whatever. Keeps it real, or unreal in this case.
I was gonna say. It's real gameplay. That's what we like to see, is that people can actually play through that. And again, it just blows me away when you see that final sequence at the flight, and that's the kind of thing that I think we've all been waiting for, is to see that glimpse of where games are going next. So it's really exciting to see how you guys keep pushing the technology to the next level with UE5. And I know it's going to be next year, you say. So we'll see some next gen games this holiday shipping on brand UE 4.25, I think, right? And then next year is when we'll see UE5. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We're planning on having a preview of UE5 available early next year, and then shipping the full
Unreal
later in the year.
Yeah. And I imagine characters will also improve. I know you guys have done a lot of work there with sort of character technology. We already talked about with Nick the idea of streaming more into the environment, no load times, as Tim mentioned. I mean, these are other things that I guess are going to sort of impact the game experience. But are there other dimensions that you think the next generation will sort of evolve to with UE5? I mean, I think the character stuff feels like, to me, another area where we're not quite the same as movies yet in terms of character technology, but I'm sure you guys are pushing on that too.
I'm very confident. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Tim.
This is just the tip of the iceberg here. We've shown digital humans technology in the past, but Epic and the 3 Lateral team that recently joined us are going to be pushing that to entirely new levels, not just in graphics fidelity, but also in productivity for content creators, so that a developer without a huge budget can build digital humans that are world class. We have a lot of investments going on that you'll hear about over the coming months and over the next year. Also, at the core of this this isn't a big open world demo, but open world technology and enabling worlds without bounds is the key initiative that's
Так,
uniting
ну здесь
all
мне
of
кто-то
this.
мне звонил.
Virtualized geometry is one part of it.
Да, вроде бы нет.
Global illumination with Lumen is another part of it. But ultimately, this comes together to empower huge streaming seamless environments, and that creates an entirely new
Да,
direction
все
for
нормально.
games to go. And remember, this is not just a graphics engine, right? It's a full simulation engine. It aims to power every aspect of simulating a realistic environment, including very detailed physics, and vehicles, and collision, and destruction, and everything else. I think you'll see a qualitatively different set of games built for the new generation than what we have here. And it's going to be very exciting because we don't yet know exactly what they're going to be.
And how does you guys mentioned Fortnite moving to UE5 next year? Like, I mean, how is this going to impact Fortnite? Do you think in terms of like the game, with UE5? Sure, you don't want to spoil much, but it's like just technically, sort of like, is that going to enable the?
Ничего, какая-то, кстати, игра.
Well, it puts a vast
Для
amount
этого
of
типа
additional
Fortnite, что ли?
build
Я
in
просто
the hands of all
Fortnite
of
не
the
играл, не знаю.
creators who build Fortnite, both within
Потому
Epic
что мне не особо интересны вот
and
эти королевские
100
битвы.
billion or so outside of Epic.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see where this enables the game to go in the future. I think what we have now is
Все, да? Ну у них так бы закончилось. Ну да, странно хранить. Видите, так неожиданно, смотрите, оп, смотрите, вот. Смотрим, вот. Началось. Смотрите, что проходит.
what we have now is
И бац у них. Они как... Сейчас у них ховок будет, да? Вот это было... Они выжили странно. Смотрите, они сделали в прямом эфире, вот прямой эфир. Вот это у них да? Нихуя не так. Сейчас. Да. Сейчас надо ее писать быстро. Смотрю. Непонятно, что это такое. Это было меню стрим. Просто я хотел отвечу.
There's the big news. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 is coming back for a brand new remaster. Hey everyone, it's Jeff Keighley, and this is an exciting Summer Game Fest announcement of that news. And to talk a bit about it right now, we've got two very special guests joining us. Of course, the one and only Tony Hawk and Jen from Vicarious Visions, who did the incredible
слишком основной
Crash
вот. Вот Тони Хоук.
and they're now teaming up with Tony to bring Pro Skater back, which is a much requested thing to have happen. Tony, this is exciting. I know it's been like, I think 4 or 5 years since the last time you guys did a game. This is what everyone I think wanted, right? Was like rolling back the clock to the originals and bringing it forward. How did this come about?
It's been there's been a lot of requests over the last few years. I would say even over 5 years.
Скейтух у них дыхна, по скейту, конечно. Ну, кстати, уже по полтинника есть у них Хоуку. Но скейтов у него нормально коллекция. Тони Хоук по скейту 1-2. Переиздание, кто выходит 4 сентября. Так надо орать.
And I try to explain to them that I don't have a team of coders behind me that I can just go make this happen. And they said, yeah, let's get on it. And they immediately tapped Vicarious Visions, and off we went. And I mean, honestly, the end product is way better than I ever imagined.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was so excited that it was, like what VV
Передача
always does, kind of
называется
honoring the tradition of the
«Анонсы
game, but
всякого
also kind of,
говна».
fully upgrading it. And
И
not
да,
just the
привет
graphics, but
тебе.
also,
А я,
like,
кстати, думаю, ты не придешь.
controls,
Ты,
how it
между
feels,
прочим, написала
20
коммент,
years forward in
но, видимо, не
time.
дожалась меня и ушла.
And
Ну,
this
так
is,
нельзя.
again, VV has done a lot of great things
Я
over
сейчас
the history of the
посмотрю
company, but
немножко,
now it's like,
потом
all right,
закончу стрим, потом
it
начну
was,
новый. Но
amazing
сейчас
kind
там
of,
уже не будем отсмотреть,
passion
будем
for the
играть.
love
Но
of
прежде чем играть, мне
franchises.
нужно там
This
расписание
is, a very
для
different game
отмененной
than
E3
Crash. Maybe let's talk about
2020
how you approach
составить
this
прямо
one.
на стриме, как было в прошлом году.
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, we're fans too.
А здесь они пиздят про такую игру, как Тони Хоук. Не знаю, может, ты играла, может, когда маленькая была на PlayStation 1 очень сильно популярная была особенно. Вот, баскетбол-то. Вот, типа, ремейк выходит в сентябре начала, я его купил уже в лицензии, то есть я предзаказал и вот жду. Ну, вообще, во-первых, нельзя. Ты написала... Ну, ты, блядь, полчаса практически сорвала, нихуя себе. Ну, слишком долго.
We started with the Neversoft engine, looking at the Neversoft code base for the handling, brought that over, also looked at the level layouts and bringing over the geometry as a starting point, and then you upgrade everything from there, from the animations to the high-res graphics, to those quality of life improvements that modern gamers expect. So it's a complete package for the fans who are just really aching for the nostalgia of these original games.
Yeah, and this is so many years later, as Tony said, like 20 plus years. So, even
Да, я заходила. Как говорится,
how you
охули
play the
не.
game has changed so much. Because
Вообще не понял тебя
Tony,
приколов
the
твоих,
old game
ты имеешь
pads,
в виду.
it's like,
Вот.
analog
У меня
sort of a
батя
thing,
по часу
so it's
сидит.
like, I
Ничего
imagine that
страшного.
was a lot of
Тебе-то
it
не
you
надо
think
так
about
много.
is
Что
like,
там ты
how
делаешь?
can you
Пишешь,
play
реписишь,
this,
учишь постоянно.
new, more sophisticated
Или в телефоне,
with
блядь,
so
сидишь.
much more granularity when you're playing.
Yeah, well, we've had experience with doing
Так
this before,
нельзя
but
делать.
certainly,
Я сегодня, кстати, был на даче. Честно, просто день сегодня не очень, завтра, скорее всего, тоже будет не очень. Короче, выходные такие себе. Вот это Тони Хоук сидит. Вот, красавчик. Сорвать ему надо. Это я не знаю, кто страшился. Ну, это его знаю. Пальцем в жопе ковыряю. Да, не надо так шутить, это неприятно. Что делал на даче? Сажали там всякие оставшиеся помидоры. Потом навоз там надо было приебашить, там на халяву навоз есть. Печку сделал, ну, из кирпичей имеется в виду, прям, чтобы это там сосиски, может, шашлыка жарить, а то ее, она была вся разломленная. Я сделал там кирпичи, нашел нормальные, силикатные, правда, но на то, что делать. Что там еще было? О, поливал, как всегда. Поцарапался, да. Пришел, денег нет особо покушать. Ну, есть неохота. А кружку сожрал. Не стал ничего брать. Ни пива, ничего, потому неохота. У нас со следующей недели начнется конференция, там всё. Вот такой денек. На улице 24 градуса, сегодня было за 30. Третий день уже 30 градусов. Мне это жалко.
When I started playing it, it felt like the same response. It felt like the tricks, they work the same, yet...
Вот он, Тони Хоук, я вот это жду. Вот он с PlayStation 1, а вот ремейк. Вот с PlayStation 1, а вот ремейк. Блять, я его обязательно поиграю. Там как раз Мстители выходят, но хрен с этими Мстителями. Я Тони Хоука хочу. Это офигенная серия игр. Не то, что алкоголь это взяла, потому что мне не надо быть пьяным. Я не знаю просто в чем смысл кайфа. Я могу только быть пьяным тогда, когда предложит кто-то. Таких редко. У нас уже давненько. У меня вот третий день пока что.
it's interesting because I think actually split screen's still kind of a novelty these days. So
Курить это тоже
bringing
зло,
that
так
back,
что
all of your favorite modes
поменьше
again, you can
делай.
play on the couch with your
Потому что
friends
тебе там
and
пачку в день
hopefully one day invite them
хуяришь.
over. Hopefully soon. And as far as other things that you can play online, we also have Create a Perk that has been improved. Now you can post your levels online, have your friends play them. You can share them online, let them take over and customize them even
А, ну,
further. So
осталось 9
it's a
минут.
pretty robust offering of
9
things that you
минут
can do
и
with your
капс
friends
нет,
out
да?
there.
А
Are you
почему?
gonna have sort of like
Dimonlimon.
any new tricks or secrets or anything, Tony, like that you wanted
Я вон
to
бросил.
put into these classic levels? I
5
mean,
лет
people
тому
don't
назад.
necessarily want them touched, but also I think there's probably some fun. I mean, is there anything kind of new that you said, hey, like I wanna switch this out, or something that's bugged you from 20 years ago that you're like, let's change that out?
There are some polished moves, but I was trying to stay as true as we could to the original. So besides the
Да
visuals
там ничего
and
интересного нет.
obviously the responsiveness, we stayed
Нет.
pretty true to
Если
the
есть,
tricks
то какая-то
and the
наёбка.
maps. And so yeah, I didn't want to mess with
Я
it too
имею в виду,
much. I feel like people are going to be so excited to play
А сколько ты курил
exactly
лет
as they
перед тем, как
remember it,
бросил?
but
Так,
in
смотри.
this new visual feel
Я...
Yep.
Так, я тебе
that's
сейчас
where it's
скажу.
going to land.
Точно, чтобы не
Yeah,
солгать.
no, and that's fine.
Смотри.
I was
Так,
going to
раз,
say,
два,
I
три,
think what's maybe
4.
fresh to these two titles is that you'll have a full suite of tricks to play with from even the latter THPS series. Because when we talk to fans and we ask
Так,
them, what do you
я вот
remember
забыл, смотри.
about these games?
Я,
It's really
по-моему, в 12 лет
being that
пошел
great superhero, doing
в
those crazy
6 класс.
designs. So we needed tricks
И,
like
по-моему, с
Reaver,
этого я
which
начал
came in
курить.
later, so that you can chain together your tricks. So we
До
added
16 лет,
those back
короче.
into
Ну,
the
где-то
mix.
года
So
4
I'm
точно
really
есть.
looking forward
Ну,
to
я бросил,
seeing
денег не
people,
хватало. Я мелкий
stay in
был.
the warehouse, but do
Вот.
some
Курил, кстати, сигареты, ну,
It's funny, I
ЛД
get
курил
credit
там
all the
синее,
time because
красное,
when I talk
космос,
about
говно
this new
полное. У деда у меня вот, когда
artist,
был
they say,
еще
"Oh,
живой,
you
Царство
did this
Небесное, у него там
before in
пиздец Тамбовский
THPS
волк,
2,
говно
which
сигарет
was
на
not
основном.
THPS 2."
Прима тоже
It's like
говно
I'm
было, он
trying to
тоже
remember
курил.
the time
Очень нравится, мне
before
нравятся мне
back when
сигареты эти. Капитан
So
Блэк, но они на то
yeah,
время
I
стоили до
think
хрена, и
this
сейчас стоят до
added that into
просто
the
шоколадный
version
вкус,
even
это
though
все
it
охуенно сидит.
came in 3.
Прям вообще пиздатый. Кайф вот
Came in
от них
3,
я
that's right.
получал
I think
многомерный.
what
Как
happens is
не поцелуй,
you
блядь, ты
start
отрубить
playing
девчонки
and your
в
finger
губы или
just
в жопу,
keeps going
или в
for that
волосик.
trigger. So you just again that
Yeah.
muscle memory kicks in and you just want to
По
do the
большей части
tricks
вообще
you're
ебашил
familiar
эти
with. And
Филипп
so
Моррис и
I was doing it.
Паламет,
I
не
kept
знаю
seeing
почему.
other people doing it. So it made
Вот.
sense that okay, this is what people naturally are going to want to have.
Right.
4
But I
года.
think that it's going to be the same thing. There's
А
kind
потом
of
было
this
8.
blurry memory of, well, I know this trick. Well, that was in 4. So
Right.
we did include some of those just because people were expect them and they won't remember the
Первая
timeline.
причина была того, что у меня денег не хватало.
For
Вторая
sure.
причина,
Yeah,
там была девка у меня,
being
которая
through
раньше была моя
so classes, like
модераторша,
those
но я с ней
numbers was
поругался.
like, the
Точнее,
classic,
зря очень сильно. Но это
pros
я
and
и
cons
она
stuff. I
виноваты.
know around
Оба.
the game,
И
there are
ради нее
different
тоже
work with
пришлось
like
бросить, потому
Create a
что она
Park,
не хотела,
Create
чтобы
a
я это
Skater, and can you maybe talk about that, Jen,
дымил,
so
скажем так.
how you're surrounding that and building that out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the game has always been about self-expression.
Зеленой
So
кнопкой.
Create a Skater is awesome.
И сколько они
We
стоят?
have a ton of diversity in our faces, the hair, the clothing, so many things that you can pick
Я с
out. Of
кнопкой
course,
пробовал
your
Сиги, но
deck graphics, trucks, wheels, you
я
name
уже
it.
даже не помню, чем они
I'm
отличаются.
really super excited about
Мне
Create
вот
a Park
всегда
because
нравилось
the VP
больше
team
вейп,
is
вот
really
электронная Сига. Вот
modernized this
даже
feature.
сейчас я
I
был
told
готов
you a bit
ебашить,
about
мне он нравится.
how you can share
Вейп
online,
вкусный.
etc. But there are a ton of pieces and
Была еще,
parts
помню,
that you
такая
can
хрень,
do with
сигара
Quixel.
называлась. Большая сигарета, но от нее
The
30
new
лет, потом
news
пиздец.
is that you'll be
120
able to
рублей.
modify many of the pieces, and so
Если вы
modifying
говорите,
them, if you
продолжу
want to
курить,
take
я
a
хочу.
rail,
Это только
twist it around, turn it into basically like a
вейп.
roller coaster,
У
you
меня
can do
был
that.
последний год
If you
назад
want to
ебашил,
create
но
some
потом
crazy,
я
massive
его
mega
куда-то
ramp
потерял.
that goes all the way up into the sky, you
Надо на
absolutely can do
Алиэкспресску
that too.
заказать
So
дешманский
I'm really
какой-нибудь,
super
рублей за
stoked to
500 и
see
ебашь.
what our players
И
create
там
with this.
фильтрик,
They're going to be
капсула,
able to share it
которую нужно
online, like
помыть.
I said, and share it with
Ну,
their
я знаю.
friends. I can imagine one of the things that I look forward to, because you can tag your parks with descriptors, is people being able to go to their local skate park and essentially build it in the game. So if I want to see what a skate park in Chicago looks like, I can just type in Chicago and boom, something appears. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what people do.
That's amazing. So you get to get in, design some stuff, Tony, I guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the original goal too, with all the creative
Я не
plans.
одобряю кальяны, вейпы, айкосы. Я не знаю, что такое айкос, раз ты говорю. Кальяны пробовал, апельсиновый вкус понравился очень сильно. И получил хуйню. А почему? Давай, Вет, быстрее пиши, как можешь. Не спи, а то Димка сейчас стрим закончит, понимаешь?
Yeah, and there is a strong nostalgia and attachment to the original, at least four, THPS 1 through 4. So, I mean, 1 and 2 is the jumping off point. I would love to be able to do more down the line. I think that we, especially with VV, like we
Айкос
can make
это
the set
первый
look spectacular.
строк ударения. Мне не нравится.
And the, you know, even 3 and 4,
Айкос,
we've come a long way
знаю,
with
понял, про
technology
что-то,
too.
все.
We've come a long way with
Сташа
the
плюс,
technology,
чего?
and I think that these guys
Ну, это
truly
типа Тони
are
Хоук сидит, вот, видишь, Тони
the
Хоук.
most qualified to do it. And
После вкуса
so
говно.
every
Айкос я
time I
понял,
see new
что-то, я
versions,
вспомнил, такая
I can't
хренотень.
believe how much better it
Но она
looks.
вроде бы не так давно появилась, эта хрень. Я ее не пробовал еще ни разу, но как-нибудь попробуем.
It's sometimes sad because we don't have that backwards compatibility of all these old systems. So all these games that I grew up playing, it's like you just can't really play them anymore, right? And if on a PC, sometimes you can find old versions of games, but old, as you said, like PS1 games, PS2 games, it's like you can't just pop them in. So the fact that
Кстати, когда я так пытался бросить курить, пробовал короче какие-то спойлеры, капостовые, вроде помогало, но оно желание было. Но при этом после этих хрени курить стал меньше, а потом как денег не было вообще. Чисто ради из-за денег и хочется было девочку показать.
the moves and the grinds and the lines from the original Tony Hawk making
Что-то
it
Саша
feel
плюс.
right on
Что это
these
такое?
new controllers, I think is yeah, I'm sure you guys have nailed it. Unfortunately, since we're all in quarantine, we can't sit there and play it, but I trust you guys are gonna deliver it, and I'm so excited that it's back. So exciting news, and thanks for.
Я знаете, на что сейчас думаю сейчас? У меня же это. В Steam же остались эти демки, Хэви Рейна, Биранда Соус, ну это что с PlayStation 3 вот это выходило, там кинцо интерактивное. Вот надо в них еще поиграть. У меня Детройт есть, но он ни хрена не работает. Вот, поэтому сейчас поиграем, потом посмотрим.
You can, well, if you pre-order
А,
in general, not just today, you'll get
понятно.
access to that iconic warehouse
На самом деле
level from THPS
ее не
1.
так зовут.
And
Это
you'll get
ник
access
почему-то на
to it
такой
all
выбрал. А вот
day, so
почему именно такой ник?
so,
Хуй его
so
знает.
definitely check it
Вот,
out.
вот напиши, вот почему
That's
такой
awesome.
ты
Kind of
ник,
like
блядь,
your
выбрал. У тебя же,
Pizza Hut
блядь,
promotional disc.
Exactly.
непонятно.
No, I
Вот,
mean that's the
вот
thing is
бы
that part
мне
of
мой
this thing
муж
with this
покупал
whole
хорошие
summer game fest thing
сигареты,
we're doing is
а не
people are at
Станы
home and they
Бронь.
want to
Какие,
play
блядь, хорошие
and be
сигареты,
able to
блядь,
go to
расскажи.
events like E3 and stuff like that this year to play stuff. So the fact that you're going to
Это вот там
have
стоит за рублей 500,
warehouse
там, да?
people be able to play
Ловок, что ли?
later this
Не.
summer is awesome to hear. So all right, well, Tony, Jen, thanks for joining me. Great to have THPS back and coming this fall. So we'll look forward to seeing more later this year.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Так.
Welcome back, survivors.
Всё.
One of the most requested features of the
Так,
community
ладно.
has been a proper
Короче,
wrap-up
знаете, что
where
сейчас
players
сделаем?
can put their skills to the test
Давайте
against
мы это
others.
все... Ой,
We're happy to
выключим
announce
все
that
нахуй. А так, посмотреть, там выпусков дохуя, конечно, это не параметр. Нет, не параметр. 200. А, ты параметр любишь? Да, он подорожал, я его покупал в свое время за рублей 80. А что сейчас делаем? Не будем уже сегодня ничего смотреть, хватит. И так вчера смотрели, и все это. Ты мужа сначала найди, ты же не хочешь себе мужа, сама говорила. Блять, а как же? Блин. Бэтмен нет, Бэтмена пока не будет. Заебали уже. Ну, это понятно. Ты что хочешь? А что я хотел? Подождите, как я в прошлый раз написал? Блин, голова не работает. Башка болит, зуб болит. Блин. Тихо, не подведи, да. Ты сейчас... Нет, я сейчас, короче, закончу этот стрим, а потом я вот прямо сейчас начну новый, там поиграем. Я говорю, я не знаю, может быть, в это активное кинцо поиграть? Да, голова болит. Но я их хочу, это, расписание хочу составить, а то там уже на следующей неделе начнется потихоньку все вот эти конфы, все такое, и надо это... как в прошлом году, как в 2014 году, когда я вот этой подобной хренью только начал заниматься, вот это все смотреть. Надо как бы вставать. Ладно, я сейчас закончу и прямо сейчас приходить на новый, прямо сейчас же уже. Когда этот стрим закончится, естественно, через заходите.